It was another quiet morning on planet Jorek 7. The sun there was a soft blue, and the sky always looked like twilight. Humans and aliens worked together at the space mining company called Zenta Corp. Among them was a human named John Wells. He was not a hero, just a regular guy, working a boring office job. John sat at his desk, drinking cold space coffee, when a strange message popped up on his screen. Meeting at 9. Important changes. Be ready. Great, John sighed. Another boring meeting. At 9 o'clock, all workers gathered in the main hall. The current manager, Mr. Velna Short, green alien, stood in front. I am leaving for my home planet, Veln said. Your new boss will start today. People looked at each other, confused. No one had heard about this. Veln stepped aside, and a tall, glowing figure entered the room. Her skin was silver blue. Her eyes sparkled like stars. She had long fingers and moved with calm grace. This is Zelra, your new manager, Veln said. Treat her well. John blinked. Something about her felt strange. Zelra gave a small smile and said in a soft voice, I look forward to working with you all. After the meeting, John returned to his desk. He thought about Zelra. She wasn't like any alien he had met before, and she kept looking at him, even during the meeting. Not a normal look. A deep, focused stare. Later that day, John was working on a report when Zelra walked by. She stopped and said, You are doing good work, John. John looked up, surprised. Ah, thanks. You smell different, she added. Pleasant. Before John could reply, she walked away. Weird, he muttered. That night, John went back to his small room in the worker dorm. He ate his dinner space noodles and lay down to rest. Just as he closed his eyes, his communicator buzzed. It was an anonymous message. Stay away from your new boss. She is not safe. Mating season is near. John sat up, shocked. What? He tried replying, but the message vanished. No name, no signal trace, nothing. Is this a joke? He said. To himself, the room felt cold suddenly. He got up to check the window. It was locked. Then knock, a soft sound at the door. John opened the door slowly, but no one was there. He looked left. Nothing. He looked right. Empty hallway. He stepped outside. Hello. No answer. He turned back and gasped. XL Ra was standing inside his room. How did you? John froze. The door was locked. I wanted to talk, Zelra said, calm as ever. Your presence is comforting. John backed up. This isn't normal. You can't just enter people's rooms. I'm sorry, she said. I don't understand all human rules, but I feel a connection, don't you? John shook his head. You just met me. She walked closer. I have chosen you. John's heart raced. He didn't understand what was happening. Was she dangerous? Was this a joke? A test? Chosen me, for what? He asked, voice shaking. Zelra tilted her head. For this season, it is what we do. Every cycle, we bond. And I have selected you. Bond, wait, no. I don't want. But before he could finish, she turned and walked toward the door. You may not feel it yet, she said. But you will. The door opened automatically. She left without looking back. John locked the door behind her. Breathing fast, he sat down, trying to think. Then the communicator buzzed again. You must leave. You've been chosen. She won't stop now. John stared at the message, his mind spinning. Who sent this? Why him? Why now? Outside the window, 2 moons rose in the alien sky. Everything looked quiet. But John knew something strange had begun, and it was just the start. The dream felt too real. John stood in a glowing forest, where the trees whispered in a language he didn't understand. The air was sweet, and silver birds flew overhead. In front of him stood Zelra, glowing, calm, and staring into his eyes. You are mine now, she said. Suddenly, vines wrapped around his arms. He tried to move, but couldn't. Her voice echoed again. You belong to me this season. John woke up, gasping, sweating. His room was dark, quiet, still. Just a dream. Or maybe not. He sat up slowly. The communicator on his table buzzed. It has begun. She will follow. Do not run. It will only make things worse. Same sender. No name, no reply possible. John stared at the message for a long time, then got up to get ready for work. At Zentacorp headquarters, everything looked normal on the surface. But Zelra had changed. She no longer stayed in her office. She walked behind John constantly, sometimes too close. She stood outside the bathroom when he went in. She stared at him during meetings. And once, She even followed him to the break room and watched him eat noodles without saying a word. It was disturbing. Others noticed too. Bro, whispered Kiro, a half-cyber coworker. Your boss is obsessed with you. John faked a laugh. Yeah, weird, right? But inside, he felt cold. Something was clearly wrong. At lunch, he tried to sit far from her. But as soon as he took a bite, Zelra walked up and sat across from him. You didn't say good morning today, she said, staring. John forced a smile. Morning, they're happy. You're avoiding me. No, I'm just busy. She leaned forward. You don't need to be afraid. I will protect you. John nearly choked on his food. Protect me from what? She smiled softly. From others of my kind. That evening, he went to the research library on level 7. It was quiet, dusty, and rarely used. He searched the alien biology section. After 1 hour of scanning through records, he found something. The Vexary species. Mating season protocol. Zelra was a Vexary, the file said. Every cycle, mature Vexary enter a biological phase called the bonding. They choose a mate, often through scent or instinct. During this time, they may follow, protect, or even isolate their chosen partner. Interference is discouraged. The bond can become dangerous if broken. John leaned back in his chair, heart racing. So, this was real. She had chosen him, and now he was stuck in her ancient alien tradition. He grabbed the file and left. Quickly, but just outside the library, Zelra was standing, waiting. Why are you reading about my kind? She asked, eyes glowing brighter than usual. I was curious, he said, trying to hide the fear in his voice. You don't need to fear me, she said again. The others, they might not understand, but I will not let them harm you. He stepped back. Zelra, I need space, time. This is too fast. She tilted her head. You are already mine. And then she walked away. Later that night, John was in bed, holding the file he stole from the library. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't think straight. Then the power in his room flickered. The lights went out. A second later, his communicator glowed. New message. She has marked you. The bond is formed. She is not the only one who can sense it now. Others may come. John's hands shook. Another message appeared right after. If you want to survive, do not let her leave your side. It's too late. Now, he stared at the screen. So I have to stay near the person I'm trying to run from. Then he heard something outside his window. A deep, alien growl. Something moved in the shadows. And suddenly, John realized Zelra wasn't the only danger anymore. The power came back at 3:17 a.m., but the silence never left. John sat on the floor of his room, back against the wall, eyes wide open. He hadn't slept all night. The message still blinked on his communicator. She has marked you. Others will. Come, what others? Why him? What kind of alien courtship involves stalking and silent threats? He slowly looked around his room. Then he saw it, a small handprint on the inside of his window. 5 fingers, long, thin, glowing, blue dot, not human, and not Zelra. The next morning, John looked like a zombie at work. His eyes were red, his skin pale. His hands shook as he typed. Zelra came over, as always. You didn't sleep, she said softly. John didn't answer. I told you I would protect you, she added. You must not leave my side. I'm not a pet, John snapped, then quickly looked around to see if anyone heard. Zelra didn't get angry. Instead, she smiled. No, you're a chosen one. It's different. Chosen one. It sounded like a sweet compliment, if spoken by a normal person. But coming from an alien who may or may not be starting a cosmic love ritual, it was terrifying. During lunch, John sat alone on the roof, pretending to eat. He watched the ships flying by above the city. Then, he heard footsteps. He didn't turn around. I just want 10 minutes alone, he said. But it wasn't Zelra. A short, hunched alien janitor in a dirty green uniform stood behind him. You are marked, the janitor whispered. John blinked. What? The alien's voice was raspy. She has bonded, now you glow. Others smell it. They will come. Who will come? John asked. Rivals? Hunters? Others who want the mark. The janitor leaned in. You need to break the bond, or hide. How do I break it? You can't, the alien said, but you can run. That night, John skipped dinner. He went to an old, unused section of the company Sector 9. No one came here anymore. He had a plan to escape. He had found a small emergency pod hidden in the storage logs, probably left over from when the company ran rescue drills. Still active, Still usable. He typed the access code slowly, his heart pounding. The pod door opened with a hiss. Inside, it was tight and cold, but it worked. He climbed in, started the engine warm-up, and whispered, "Goodbye, crazy alien job." But just before the countdown reached 0, the door closed. From the inside. John turned. Zelra was sitting behind him. "I told you," she said softly. "Wherever you go, I go." John panicked. "How did you were watching me?" "I never stopped," she said. "You're mine now. I can feel your heartbeat, even from miles away." The pod began to power down. She had disabled it. "You can't keep me prisoner," John said. "I'm not keeping you," she replied. "I'm saving you." They sat in silence for a moment. Then Zelra's voice changed. Lower, softer. "Someone followed you last night. They left a scent outside your door." "Not mine." John shivered. "You mean the handprint?" Zelra nodded. "You are now part of something bigger. My species knows I've chosen you. Others don't agree." John stepped out of the pod. "Then, unchoose me." Zelra tilted her head. "I can't. The bond is permanent, until the season ends. Breaking it now will damage your mind. You may forget your own name." John laughed nervously. "That's insane." "It is biology," she said simply. Later, back in his room, John stared at the ceiling. He thought of Earth, of coffee shops and buses and crowded cities, normal things, things without aliens, watching you sleep. Then his communicator buzzed once more. "She's not the only one tracking you. You need to choose now. Stay near her, or die alone." John put down the communicator. He felt like a prisoner, but he also felt something strange as safe. When Zelra was around, he hated it, but he couldn't deny it. For now, he would stay close. But his mind was already making a second plan. John couldn't breathe. Not because of fear, but because there was no air. He stood in a glass dome high above the city. Behind him, the automatic door was sealed. In front of him, Zelra, calm, glowing, silent. She had brought him here in the middle of the night. No warning, no explanation, just a soft message. "Follow me, it's time." Now they were standing inside an observation dome at the edge of the company's restricted zone. Outside the glass, stars blinked. The moons were close, lighting the alien clouds with a silver glow. "Why am I here?" John finally asked. Zelra didn't look at him. She was watching the stars. "You need to see what I really am," she said. He swallowed hard. "I already know what you are. You're my boss. You're an alien, and you're driving me crazy." She turned toward him slowly. "No," she said. "I'm something much older." Zelra raised her hand. From the center of her palm, a soft blue flame appeared. It floated up, forming an image in the air. It showed a planet green and bright, with golden oceans. "That was my home," she said. Before the storms, the image shifted. The same planet, but now cracked, burning, falling apart. "Our kind lost everything. Only a few of us survived, and we changed. To survive." The image disappeared. "We don't fall in love like humans do," she continued. "We bind. Our biology selects one match by scent, by instinct, by fate. That's how we live. That's how we continue." John stayed silent. "I didn't choose you because I wanted to," Zelra said. "I chose you because I had no choice. My body chose, my mind followed." John walked closer to the glass wall. "So I'm just biology to you?" he asked. "No," she replied. You are compatible in a way that's rare, almost impossible." John looked at her. "So what now? You follow me forever?" "No," she said softly. "The season ends in 9 cycles. Then the bond will fade, unless you return it." "Return it? If you feel the same, the bond becomes permanent." John shook his head. "I didn't ask for this." "I know," she said. "Neither did I." Suddenly, the lights in the dome flickered. Zelra turned toward the door. Her eyes narrowed. "They found us." "Who?" John asked. She didn't answer. The door hissed open. 3 figures entered. Not security, not workers, not human. They were tall, cloaked, and moved without sound. Zelra stepped in front of John. "Rivals," she whispered. "They want to challenge the bond." "What does that mean?" "They want to take you. If I lose, they claim you." John's heart dropped. "That's not romantic. That's kidnapping." Zelra's voice changed low, powerful. "You don't belong to them. I will not give you up." The first figure raised its hand. A strange weapon shimmered into form. John backed away. "Wait, this isn't a fight. I'm not property." But no one listened. The air shifted, and suddenly, Zelra moved fast to see. A blur of silver and light. One figure collapsed instantly. The second tried to strike, but she blocked it with her bare hand. Sparks flew. The third hesitated, then vanished. It was over in seconds. John stood frozen. Zelra turned, her arm bleeding bright blue. "Are you hurt?" she asked him. I don't know," he said, shaking. "What was that?" "They were sent by my own people," she said. "They think I'm too attached to you." John looked at her. Really looked at this time. She was bleeding. She had just fought her own kind for him. "Why? What happens now?" he asked. She looked at him, tired. "You go back to your room. You stay close to me. You survive. That's all we can do." Back in his room, hours later, John sat in silence. The events played over and over in his head. Fighting truth, blood stars. He checked his communicator. No new message, for the first time in days' silence. Then he looked in the mirror. There, just below his collarbone, a faint, glowing mark dot. It hadn't been there before. Like a soft tattoo made of light. Zelra's mark dot. John touched it. It pulsed once warm, gentle. He didn't know what to feel, but he knew this. There was no going back to normal. Not anymore. It didn't start with a sound. It started with a feeling. Like the moment before a storm, when the air goes still, and the world forgets how to breathe. John felt it the second. He stepped into the company lobby that morning. The lights were too bright. The air was too clean. And everyone, every alien, every human was quiet. Then he saw her. Not Zelra. Someone else. She stood at the front desk, tall and sharp, with eyes like twin black holes. Her skin was dark red, like dried blood, and her voice was low and smooth as she spoke with the receptionist. John tried to walk past. Unnoticed. Didn't work. The woman turned and locked eyes with him. For a second, everything stopped. Time. Air. Thought. And then she smiled. A slow, knowing smile. John ran straight to Zelra's office. She was already standing. Tense. Her eyes glowing brighter than ever. "You saw her?" she asked without looking. "Yeah," John said. "Who is she?" "Her name is Salith," replied. "And she's here for you." John laughed nervously. "I'm not a prize. I'm not a trophy. I'm just a guy with a desk job." "You are marked," Zelra said. "And that mark means power in our world. Influence. You're not just a person anymore. You're a signal. To some, a target." John paced the room. "So she wants to take me?" Zelra nodded. "She's a bond thief. She breaks other people's pairings to form her own. She doesn't care if you suffer. She only wants control." "How does she plan to take me?" he asked. Zelra turned, her face cold now. "She will challenge me." "To what?" "A fight. To a ritual trial. Ancient rules. Public binding. Deadly." John's voice dropped. "And what, if you lose?" "I die," Zelra said quietly. "And you become hers." The announcement came 2 hours later. Company staff were told to gather in the Sector 5 training dome. Trial requested, bond challenge. Authorized by the council. John sat in the back, watching as Zelra stood across from Salith, in a circular arena. The air inside the dome was heavy, thick, buzzing. Salith stepped forward, her voice clear and sharp. "You've grown weak, Zelra. You've bonded too deeply. You've forgotten who we are." Zelra didn't reply. Salith looked up at John in the stands. "I offer him higher honor. Better genes. A longer future." John shouted from above. "I'm not a prize." Salith smiled again. "You are now." The fight began with silence. Then light exploded. Both women moved faster than any human could see. Energy beams cracked the floor. Shockwaves knocked dust from the dome walls. Zelra moved with sharp grace. Salith fought like fire. John's heart pounded. He wanted to look away, but couldn't. He was the reason they were fighting, and one of them might die for it. Zelra was slowing. Blood blue and bright dripped. From her shoulder Salith smiled, and moved in for the final blow. John stood up in the stands. Stopped. His voice echoed through the dome. Both aliens paused. John jumped down into the arena, landing hard. He limped forward, standing between them. "I'm not letting anyone die for me." "That is not your choice," Salith said, voice cold. "Maybe not," John said, breath shaking. "But I choose. I choose who I trust, who I stay with." He looked at Xel Ra, then at Salith, then back again. "I choose Zelra." The dome went silent. Salith stared at him, her smile now gone. "You refuse me?" "Yes," John said. "Because I'm not just some mark. I'm a person. Salith looked at Zelra one last time. Then she stepped back, her eyes dark. The human has spoken. For now, she vanished, just like that. Later, John sat beside Zelra in the medical bay. She had cuts on her arms and a bandage over her side. The blue blood was drying. You could have died, he said quietly. But I didn't, she replied, because you chose me. John looked at her for a long moment. You still scare me a little. I scare myself too sometimes, she said, with a rare soft laugh. Outside, in the sky, something moved. A large ship, watching, waiting. The bond wasn't just biology anymore. It was now a declaration, and the whole galaxy had heard it. Asterisk, the stars were moving. Not fast. Not loud, just slowly drifting across the dark sky, above Zenta Corp's rooftop. John sat on a bench, wearing a thermal jacket, a cup of steaming synth tea in his hands. It was past midnight, and the rooftop garden was empty, except for one person. Xelror. She stood barefoot in the grass, eyes closed, arms gently raised, as if she were listening to music only she could hear. The wind moved around her, peacefully. John watched her for a long moment before speaking. You look different when you're not glowing or bleeding. She opened one eye. You say the most interesting things. He smirked. I mean, calm, almost human. I'm not, she said, but I'm trying to be. Something like it. She walked over and sat beside him. Not too close. Just close enough. For once, she didn't stare. She didn't say strange things. She just existed. Quietly. Double quotes. Do you ever miss your home? John asked. Zelra nodded. Every cycle, but I also miss the version of myself that existed there. She was softer, less defensive. John looked at her. You've changed. I had to, she said. My world was destroyed. Our people scattered. We only survive by adapting. But when I'm near you, some of that old self comes back. John took a sip of his tea. So, I'm your comfort zone. You are my bond, she said simply. He sighed. It still feels weird. Good, she replied. Weird means you're thinking. Silence again. Then John asked something he hadn't dared before. If I returned the bond, what would that mean? Zelra turned to look at him fully now. It would mean connection beyond words, beyond distance. You would feel me in your thoughts. I would feel your pain, your fear, your joy. Sounds intense. It is, she said. That's why it must never be forced. John nodded. I'm not ready. Zelra smiled. That's why I trust you. They both looked up at the stars. John leaned back, letting the cool air touch his face. I used to think space was lonely, he said. Now I think it's crowded. She laughed gently. You have no idea. Suddenly, a soft sound came from John's communicator. A short chime. One message. Final cycle begins now. The choice must be made soon, or others will make it for you. John showed it to Xelra. She didn't react. I know, she said. They're watching, waiting. If we don't complete or break the bond soon, the high circle will interfere. And what does that mean? It means they'll come, she said. They'll take both of us. For study, for judgment. They will erase the bond. And possibly you. John's heart skipped. Erase me. They don't see you as real. Not yet. You're a variable. He stood up, pacing. So I either bind with you forever, or they delete me from existence. Yes, Zelra said calmly. But no pressure. John laughed. Nervous. Great. Perfect. No stress at all. She stood up too. Her face was soft now, gentler. You don't have to love me, she said. I don't even fully understand your version of love. But I chose you not just because of scent or instinct. I chose you because you listened. John looked at her, eyes searching. And if I never return the bond, then I'll protect you until the end of the season, she said. And when the bond fades, I'll walk away. You'll be free, no pain, no memory, he repeated. It's how our kind handles broken bonds, she said. To heal, John sat back down, breathing deeply. I don't want to forget you. Then you better decide, she said, sitting beside him again. The stars are already shifting. The wind grew stronger. The clouds above parted on for the first time in weeks. The planet's third moon was visible. Bright, red. The final moon of the bond cycle. Zelra looked up, her eyes reflecting its light. John didn't say anything, but inside he felt something pull. Not fear, not pressure, just warmth. In the shadows, far across the city, a figure watched them through a scope. Someone was coming. The high circle's messengers were already en route, and they didn't believe in second chances. The sky had turned white. Not blue, not red, just white, like the air itself had frozen in fear. John stood in the center of the city's skybridge platform, eyes locked on a strange silver craft hovering above. Its lights blinked with slow menace. The wind had stopped. Even the birds were gone. Beside him stood Zelra, calm but silent. Across from them, 3 glowing beings floated down from the ship. The high circle. Their faces were covered, their hands never moved. But their voices echoed. In John's mind, the bond must resolve. Now, accept, break, or be removed. John felt his heartbeat pound in his ears. He turned to Xel Ra. Her eyes didn't glow this time. They were soft, real, scared. I don't want you erased, she whispered. He laughed nervously. I don't want to be erased either. The high circle spoke again. One must speak. One must choose. Free will ends in 30 heartbeats. John looked at the sky. The stars were visible even during the day now. The final moon, the red one, was fading. He had seconds. He looked at Zelra again. He remembered her in battle. He remembered her watching the stars. He remembered how she listened. More than she spoke. He remembered how she tried to protect him even when he hated her. I was afraid of you, John said. I was afraid of myself, she replied. I thought I was your prisoner. I thought I was your problem. They both smiled. Just a little. John stepped closer. You didn't force this, he said. You just stayed. She nodded. I'm still here. Then he touched her hand. The mark on his chest pulsed. Once, then again. Then light exploded from their hands like a quiet firework. The high circle stepped back. Bond confirmed. Connection stable. Human accepted. The light surrounded both of them now. Not burning, but weaving. Like 2 threads of energy finally tied. John closed his eyes. And this time, he didn't feel fear. He felt her not just beside him. Inside him. Her voice in his head. Not speaking. Just feeling. Warmth. Peace. Memory. The sky turned back to blue. The high circle left. No sound. No war. Just departure. Zelra looked at him. You chose me, she whispered. John smiled. No. I chose us. Double quotes. 1 week later, John walked through Zentacorp with a new badge. Diplomatic partner, bonded human. People alien, and human. Alike nodded in respect. He didn't feel trapped anymore. He felt seen. Zelra stood beside him, now assigned as dual advisor. Not just his boss, not just his bond, his equal. That evening, on the same rooftop where everything had started, they watched the stars again. Are you happy? She asked. Still scared, he admitted. But not of you. She smiled. He looked up at the stars. Do you think they'll come back? The circle, she asked. Maybe. Power hates peace. John laughed. Well, if they do, let's fight them together this time. Together, she said. And high above the planet, drifting through the black sea of stars, a small signal blinked across galaxies. A message. 1 human, 1 vexery. Bonded, compatible, stable. Subject may trigger interest from others. Watch. Do not interfere. Yet,